All right, guys, so we're doing another Q&A, hanging out with the Gators here. So we got Bella in front of us. Oh, hello. She got a lot to say. And then we got Big Mac is back there. There's a good chance he'll come up and join us. But Garrett's going to read off some questions from my Q&A I posted up on Instagram. So take it away.
First question is, did you ever want to do a different career?
So I get this one a lot, like, how did I know this is what I wanted to do? And I'm like, well, when you say like this career, what do you mean? Because I do like so many different jobs, and like just right now, the focus is doing the sanctuary, right? And trying to get this thing going and everything. But then my job that pays me is this, social media. That's actually my job right now. When I work at the sanctuary and I'm taking care of all the animals, I don't take a pay cut out of that, you know? So like the sanctuary is a nonprofit. And so we built all of that. At first, when we first did it, I put my personal money into building the sanctuary. And then we got it going with the whole nonprofit, everything like that. And so now the sanctuary is self-sufficient through donations, but I don't take a pay cut out of any of that. So like right now, my only job is doing social media, and that's what actually pays me. But throughout the last 20 years, I've done so many different jobs, from being a tour guide to doing gator wrestling to doing the underwater gator tours to leading shark diving tours to bringing people to other countries, like doing Amazon tours. So many different things. So anyways, to get back to the original thing, what did I want to do? I didn't really care what I was doing as long as I could work with animals and be outdoors and be outside and be around animals and still make a living. And so that's what's really hard. And if you are someone who is interested in this kind of career path, keep in mind it's very hard to make a living working with animals, and you kind of have to go wherever you are fulfilling your passion, but still also filling your pockets. You got to make a living. So whether that is, again, that's doing tours, that's doing social media presenter, doing live shows, all this different kind of stuff. So I have done many different jobs, but the real thing is just being able to hang out with animals and make a living and put food on the table, right?
Next question is, are you ever worried about the stick breaking?
No. So I do like having the stick with me when I am working with them as an extension for safety. And so I get this one a lot. And in fact, among, we did a whole video talking about the stick and like how to use the stick and all this in the background and all this kind of stuff. And among other like gator handlers, a lot of them are like, they look down on having a stick. They're like, you should just do it with your hands. And I'm like, so I've done it with my hands for many, 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 many years. And in fact, some of the places I used to do gator wrestling shows, the managers didn't even want me to have a stick in there. Now that's some of their ego, but that's also sometimes you don't want a stick because when you're doing a live show and people don't know anything about you, they think you're going to hurt the animal with the stick or hit them, so they don't understand that. So I get that aspect a little bit, but anyways, I like having a stick as a safety tool. I think it's a great idea. I think everybody should always have a stick when working with these animals as a safety tool. Do I need it? No. I don't need a stick when I'm in here. I can go get in the water with them. I don't need to have a stick. And I've done it for years without having the stick, but it's just smarter. It's just so much smarter to have a stick with you as, again, a safety tool, everything like that. Now with the crocodiles, I need that. Okay, you're not doing it with the crocs without a stick. Like the way I'm handling them and feeding them, basically I could do everything you see me do with the gators, I could also do without a stick. It would just be a higher probability of something bad happening. But I could not do everything you see me do with the crocs without having a stick, Now, on that note, if the stick does break with the gators, I'm fine. I don't care. If the stick broke when I'm in with the crocodiles, that's when you're going to start trying to get your exit plan, and like back your way out of there and try to get yourself to safety. Definitely way more dangerous in there with them.
You're going to love this question. Do you only handle them after feeding them?
Yeah, so I get this one all the time, my whole career, all the time. Oh, so you just fed them and that's why you're in there, right? Guys, if you watch me on YouTube, I start the videos outside the enclosure. They haven't been fed. 99% of my content is me actively feeding them. Ergo, they're not fed before because you're seeing them being fed. So no, we never, ever, ever feed them before interacting or anything like that. Now, before we do the Q&As, yes, I actually do this after I've already fed them, so they're a little bit less crazy, but it's not like it's going to make it where she's not going to bite me if she really wants to, or if I do something silly or something like that, So no, they're not fed beforehand.
Are the osteoderms sharper on certain crocs?
Okay, so there is, so if you don't know what those are, first of all, osteoderm means bone skin, and those are the knobs that you see on the back, the ridges across the back of the animal. And so especially at the neck and across the back, those are solid bone plates. It's like body armor for the alligator. Also acts like a kind of a little mini solar panel too, because the blood goes between the bone and the black skin and heats it up quickly when they bask in the sun. And then as you move down the tail, it'll become more cartilaginous. But yeah, up here, solid bone. So those solid bone plates do vary depending on what species of crocodilian we're talking about. And also it varies across their captive care if they're in captivity. So this is something that is affected by metabolic bone disease. So if they're not well taken care of in captivity, you will see their osteoderms are much more reduced often. They're much smoother than they are on a wild alligator. Now also it depends on what kind of habitat they came out of. When we catch alligators that come out of a city, a lot of times those osteoderms are actually shaved down. If they death roll on concrete, they go through concrete pipes. So the base of the osteoderm, very thick bone, but the ridge of it can actually be relatively thin. And so they will shave it down if they go through concrete. Like she was caught in a parking lot. And if you look at her, hers are pretty smooth, especially compared to Big Mac's got sharper osteoderms than Bella does. And that will vary depending on what alligator we're talking about. And also like the younger ones do typically have a very sharp, like 6 or 7 foot gators that are full wild, living out in like swampy habitats, not near anything with concrete or rocks, really sharp. In fact, when I jump on them to catch them, I've had my palm get cut open by the sharp osteoderms on like a 6 or 7 footer. Now, generally, once they get bigger, they do smooth out compared to those smaller ones. And back to the original question, varying across species, absolutely. So some species have much more pronounced, much sharper osteoderms. The Paleosuchus, the dwarf caiman, they've got some mega osteoderms. They're really crazy cool looking. The Nile crocs, their backs are relatively more smooth. Meanwhile, like Nessie, the Siamese salty hybrid, she's got really high ridges on hers. So it does vary across each species.
How often do you have to feed them?
So we really only feed them once a week here. So 1 day a week is when we feed basically all the gators and crocs, and that's when I have Garrett here. So we do a content day. So, he'll come here and I'll have everything ready and we'll go through and feed all the gators and crocs in 1 day. And then I will post onto YouTube. I'll take one clip from each animal for each day for the regular vlogging. And then on Instagram, same thing. Instagram, I'll be posting stuff like I haven't even edited some of the reels for like Facebook, Instagram, or Shorts. On YouTube, I haven't edited some of those from 3 weeks ago still I need to do. So those will pop up from like all over the place. But I try to do one a day, which does give the appearance that I'm feeding them every day, which I'm definitely not. We're just filming 1 day a week, feeding 1 day a week, and then posting stuff throughout the week.
Crocs or gators, which has the greatest capacity to be friendly?
Okay, so none of them are friendly. Yeah, right off the bat, none of them are friendly. Now, the gators are absolutely more calm and they are easier to work with. And if you're dumb, you're going to think they're friendly, but they're not friendly. They will absolutely still bite you. They will still rip your arms off. They will still eat you if you really mess up. But the crocodiles are definitely a lot more, let's say, spicy, okay? But the gators, they're more chill, they're more calm. Definitely none of them are friendly, though.
If you could dress your gators up for Halloween, what costumes would they be in?
So I thought it was a cute one. I thought it was a funny one. So I would have to think about it. Big Mac, obviously a giant sandwich. No. So we might try to do some hats on them, actually. So if you guys have ideas of what they should do, let me know if it's something that's easy for a hat. Now, I will say I'll put a hat on them, but I'm not going to do a full costume probably. So I can, and I have done this in the past, and we've put like shirts on them, and they're pretty tolerant. So I've had them where I can put a whole shirt on an alligator and a hat and sunglasses. I've even put shoes on an alligator before and go all out. Bella, she's starting to look at Garrett there. Bella, you come back here? Yeah. No eating the cameraman. I've done that before. I don't really do it anymore though, because if you understand us and our ethics here and like, my channel and my ethics, you're like, okay, I know that Chris is doing that because he works with these animals and he's trained them and the gators are tolerating that and they're allowing it to do that. if you watch my stuff. Now, if you're someone who doesn't watch my stuff and you just happen to see I have an alligator wearing shoes, glasses, a hat, and a shirt, you're like, oh, so it's a pet. It gives the wrong idea. You know, so like that's why I don't really show that or do that, because it does give people the idea that like, oh, you can just dress them up like a pet. And I'm like, no, I've been doing this my whole life, and we train them and we work with them, and it's because the animal's tolerant of it, you know, but it's not because he likes getting dressed up or as a pet or anything like that. And then, you know, I see like the emotional support alligator and they're dressing that one up, you know, and I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that. I hate that. And it gives the uneducated or unfamiliar with our place the wrong idea about the animal. So that's why I'm like, I'll probably just do a hat, you know, not go all out kind of thing, just because we don't want to give people the wrong idea.
My vote would be to dress them up as Albert and Alberta from
no. Come here.
the Florida Gators, Florida Gator mascots.
Yeah? Bella. Yeah, Garrett's a big UF fan. Bella, where are you going?
Go
Come
Gators.
back here. Bella.
Beat Texas.
I know, I don't have any food though. Bella. Go girl, yes. Come over here. She's like, yeah, but you don't have any food.
He's slowly creeping up closer and closer to you.
Yeah, he's back there.
Have you seen the AI crocodile video with the kid on like the front porch? There's a bunch of them actually. So
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, I did see this, and I did a post on Facebook talking about like AI is getting better and better and better and better every day. And I predict, let's be real conservative here. Within 5 years, I think within 1 year, honestly, but let's just say within 5 years, it will be indiscernible from reality. You will not, as an expert, I will not be able to tell whether this is real or AI, especially when they do like this one that we're talking about is like a security cam footage. And so it is purposefully like a little fuzzy.
grainy, yeah.
Yeah, so like you can't tell, you know? It's hard. Well, we can tell. We know what we're looking for. A lot of people are fooled by this video going around right now. They think it's real. Regular people think it's real. But I think in 5 years, I won't be able to tell anymore either. I think it's going to be so good that I'm not going to be able to know anymore. And it's going to create a real issue where you're going to have animal attack videos are going to be everywhere, and people are going to think those are real. And so even now, you know, like the most popular stuff is people getting attacked by animals. So that's of course what they're going to lean into as the popular video topic is being attacked by animals. And it's all going to be a bunch of fake stuff, and it's going to create so much fear mongering and ignorance and then vilification of predatory animals, and people being like, wow, I saw this video of this dude getting killed by an alligator, and there's a gator in my backyard in Florida, so I'm going to shoot it before it gets me, not realizing that's an AI video. This is coming real fast for us guys, unfortunately. And I do want to make like a short, like a reaction video, like a green screen of me with that video talking about it. And so many people think that video is real, unfortunately. So this stuff is coming. It's going to be real bad, guys.
Is there a particular gator you've bonded with?
Okay, so we get this one a lot. None of them, I don't share a bond with any of them. And people are like, what do you mean? You're sitting right next to this alligator. It's not attacking you. Obviously, you guys are bonded. Okay, if you were bonded to something, will it kill and eat you? In my book, no. Okay? In my book, if I say that I have a bond with something, it means that I am safe. Bella, she's like, you don't have food, I'm leaving. What do you think? Are we bonded? Would you bite my hand? Oh, what do you think? Oh, she's being actually pretty good. You're not proving my point here. You're proving their point. You guys know Bella will try to bite me all the time. Okay, so anyways, none of them are bonded to me. Oh, but they know you. This is the other one. It's either they're bonded. Oh, they know you. Oh, they know you means they won't hurt you. Yes, they do know me, of course. So I can't say they don't know me. They do know me. But the implication behind saying, oh, well, they know you, the implication is that then that means that they won't hurt you, that they are now your pets or they're tame or whatever. And like, however you want to say this, the implication is that it means that they won't hurt you and that you are safe. If you are in this enclosure, you are not safe. That, I don't mean you, I mean me too. Like if I am in this enclosure, I am not safe. Now I have a knowledge and skill base that mitigates a large portion of that risk, and I train these animals that also mitigates a large amount of that risk. Bella, you can't leave. Then it's just me sitting in the grass talking. Bella.
I remember when I started working here, I told my mom, I was like, don't worry, I'm safe. And then I stopped and I was like, well, I'm as safe as I can be.
Yeah.
I'm in an enclosure with alligators.
Yeah, we are as safe as we can be, and we do prioritize trying to be as safe as possible, but it does not mean that you are actually safe. That's and people ask this one too. So when people do grasp that, you know, they're kind of like, well, when are you safe? I'm like, you're not. You're safe when you're outside the enclosure. That's when you're safe. As long as I'm in here, I'm not safe. They're not bonded to me. You know, yes, they know me, but they don't know me in the idea where you are safe and they won't hurt you or anything like that.
How old are the gators in your videos?
We don't know. So I don't know the age of either one of these two. Now, the reason behind that is their size has to do with diet, environmental factors, and genetics. So that means that if you have an alligator with, you know, just like people, you have really good genetics. I am tall. I am taller than Gabby. Wow, I must be so much older than Gabby. Obviously, no. Like, that's not how that works, you know? Same with the animals. So genetics come into play on that, but the really big one is diet and stress, you know? So, Bella, I needed some treats today. She's like, yeah, you know, I don't really buy this. He would just sit here, okay? I think she's a lot smarter than he is. But anyways, so if you have an alligator that has a really good diet and a stress-free environment, they will grow way faster than an alligator with a poor diet and a stressful environment. And way faster means you could have animals that are the exact same age that could be like 4 times the size of the other one. Bella. Turn back immediately. Like, yeah, but I know I don't have anything. She knows it. She's too smart. Yeah, so you don't know. So when you have an adult animal like this, you don't know. Now in smaller animals, they have a much more normal growth rate in the wild. So generally, they grow about 1 foot a year, roughly, each year until they're about 4 to 5. But you know, there's size difference in gender too. So like, it's all over the place. The point being, I have no idea. Bella here could be 25 years old. She could literally be 125 years old. I actually would not be able to tell you the difference. And the only way we know the age of any of them in captivity is if we know when they were put into captivity and just count the years from that. So like, there's the oldest living crocodilian right now is Henry, big Nile crocodile in South Africa. I think it's like 124 years old. And he's been in captivity 124 years, and he was caught, I think, already like 8 feet or something like that. And he just looks really big. He doesn't look that old. And if you saw him, you would not know him versus another large one. And here, we'll go hang out with Big Mac. Bella is just so over us today. So let's go sit next to him because he's going to just hang out with us anyways. And I think we only got a couple more left.
Yeah. The next one is, do alligators even taste their food?
Absolutely, guys. You see this a lot when we give them new prey. So they do eat their food very quickly, typically because they don't want someone or something else to come steal it. So they will, especially for alligators and crocodiles, they have to worry about other gators and crocs coming over and stealing the food from them. So they try to eat it as quickly as they can. When you are eating, you are at a disadvantage. If your mouth is full, your mouth is not available to bite a threat and defend yourself. So they want to eat quickly, right? Now, you guys, if you see the videos, we just did this today. Today's a filming day, you know. So we just gave some fish and some rats and rabbits to some of the animals, and they would grab, the rabbit's a new thing, so they grab the rabbit and they're like, what is this? So like Talia, we gave her one. She didn't even eat it. Like, it took her, I don't know, like 5 minutes to eat it, you know. It took her a while before she actually swallowed it down because she's trying to figure out, this is a new thing. Is this safe to eat? So they do have a very good sense of taste. I also use an example where we have given them medication, cut open a big piece of chicken, put the pills deep inside the meat, cover it up, give it to them, and they know it's in there, and they sit there and toss it around and spit the pills out and then swallow the meat. So yes, they have a very good sense of taste.
Even with the short distance that you're moving and jealous, is there danger of stress?
So we are obviously going to mitigate the amount of stress involved. So we're going to try to capture him and move him as quickly as we can. We also still want to get measurements though. And we want to have one of the vets here hopefully do a blood draw, and that way we can do some testing on him and just check his health and all this kind of stuff. But we're going to try to do all that kind of stuff as quickly as we can to minimize that stress. Now for him though, I already caught him and drove him here all the way from Texas. So he will be fine, okay? We've already done way longer transport with him before. But again, whenever you're working with any crocodilian and trying to move one, you do want to try to do it as quickly as you can to mitigate that stress.
How do you quantify how much damage an invasive animal does to the native environment?
Okay, so this is a really good one. And this is one that I could honestly do a whole video alone, just going through examples of this and talk for like an hour about this. So I'll try to give you the short version though, since we have other questions and whatnot on this, and we don't want to make this video 2 hours long. So the shorter version of this, it is very hard to do. It is very difficult to do because what you would have to do to be able to figure this out is you would have to have 2 similar habitats where one has the invasive species, the other does not. And they have to be similar enough that other threats are not occurring in one that's not in the other, that's going to muddy your data. So like an example of this for pythons was done. So pythons in the Everglades was compared to, so it was about mammals specifically. So they did mammal surveys in the Everglades compared to mammal surveys in the Corbin WMA, I think is what it was. Corbin? I just saw Corbin Maxey, like, yesterday. So I'm like, oh my God, am I saying his name? Whatever. There was a place that starts with a COR or something. Anyways, it was messing this up. Those 2 places though, the Everglades area they sampled is pretty far from the WMA that they sampled. They didn't have pythons. So those habitats, they're similar enough. I think it works, but they're really not that similar. I mean, they are, but also you could argue that they're not. It's enough that it works. Then there's also like, it's a different habitat. It's so far, it's so much farther north that like you're running into different habitats, different temperatures compared to like South Florida. It is still in South Florida, but it's like northern South Florida, I would say. And then also you're running into disturbed habitat from other human causes. How close to a roadway were you? How many other invasive species are in this area? So the point being, it's actually really, really hard to say that something is caused by this one specific thing. It can be very challenging to say that. Bella, where are you going? She can smell there's still some food in that bucket over there that we're going to give to Aquila. Okay. But yeah, so it can be really, really difficult to do. And then you need a long enough time span, right? So this is the other thing. A lot of times we don't know how this effect is going to play out for a very long time because the food web is obviously interconnected. Are you going to come up here? And it can be really difficult to say. So Garrett was asking me about chameleons. So we can talk about that. So there are invasive, there's a couple different species of chameleons that have been found in Florida, including veiled chameleons are the most widespread. There's been very small population of panther chameleons found, and then I'm actually the one that found the population of Austerlitz chameleons, and that was one of the first academic publications I did in invasive species biology. That's what I have all my academic work in. And so we looked at the chameleons, and you're like, okay, well, as far as we could tell, chameleons don't really seem to have that much of a negative effect on the surrounding ecosystem. In fact, there were some papers published talking about this and like how much of an effect. And it's like, well, as far as we can tell, they don't really seem to be causing that much damage. Here's the thing. It's really hard to tell, and I'll break it down because let's say we have chameleons, right? And the chameleons are then eating bugs. Okay, well, how did you do your bug population dynamic surveys? And did you take into account whether or not pesticides are used in that area? And did you take into account the local weather patterns of that area? That's a really big one too. Is it a wet season? Is it dry season? Is it are we on a lower end of like a 3-year drought? Like there's so many different influences that could be skewing your data. And then also, with the pythons, it's a lot easier. Pythons just eat everything. We know they're really bad. It's very obvious pythons are really bad. How bad? We don't really know. But for an animal that's not really bad, like a chameleon, it's a lot more difficult. Or another way that this could skew things, let's say that chameleons are, I'm being hypothetical here, I'm speculating, what if chameleons are being picked off by raptors, birds of prey? A lot more now. So they are a new prey item that then boosts the population of hawks in that area. Those hawks are able to have more babies this year because they're eating way more chameleons that sit up on top of the tree and just get picked off and flown away with. Again, I'm speculating this, but let's say that is happening. If that is happening, we just boost the hawk population. And now the hawks are they're not just eating the chameleons, now they're eating way more of this whatever endangered rodent. Let's say we're in the Keys. Key Largo wood rats are now, there's way more hawks than there normally are. That population's boosted, and then that is then causing a lowering of the population of the Key Largo wood rat because of that. It's all connected. Or you can even go another step. More hawks are eating more of this rodent And that rodent is specifically eaten by this snake. And now this snake's population is crashing because of chameleons. It's not that direct, you see what I mean? So it can be really hard to say whether or not this species is causing a problem in an ecosystem. It can be such a weirdly interconnected food web and very difficult to tell what the actual effects are. And these effects, as I'm saying them right now, can take generations to happen. So this might take 10 years. So if we're doing a study within 5 years of them being introduced, it just hasn't happened yet because we have to wait for those generational boosts of having that added prey item to this predatory species. So that can take a long time to actually show the cascade effect, you know? Again, we can talk about this for literally an hour, but we'll move on to the next one.
How do you feel about alligator farms?
So, crocodilian farming is basically, I don't like it personally, but I understand it as a necessary evil because it takes the threat off of the wild population. What I mean by that is, okay, so there's a demand for crocodilian leather, and that sucks. But there's nothing we can do about that demand. We can try to educate people and say you shouldn't have this, you shouldn't wear, you shouldn't wear any kind of animal skin. We could try to do that like the foxes. We try to tell people don't wear fox fur. You're supporting the farming of those foxes, and that's horrific. But the farming of an animal, although horrific in the conditions for those animals like foxes, it is literally hell on earth for those animals. It's really, really bad. But that farming is a lot better than people meeting the demand for the skin by going out in the wild and causing the extinction of the species overall out of the wild. So it's kind of like one of those, man, it really sucks for the ones in captivity. They're being farmed, but they're taking one for the team. And they don't know that, but they are. And it's really, really sad for them, but they're taking one for the team for their wild brethren by taking off that pressure. Because farming allows you to mass produce the animals at a higher rate than what you'd get out of the wild, and it makes it cheaper. That's the only way, that's the only reason this works, is it's cheaper. So even if you make it illegal to take the wild ones, people are gonna poach them anyways. The only way to stop the poaching is to beat them in the bank account. And that is by farming, providing a ton of skins through farming that is cheaper. And then the poacher's like, why would I go and spend my time catching them in the wild and killing them and skinning them? And it takes a lot more time and effort and money when instead I could farm raise a bunch of them and sell it, and I make more money that way. So that's why it works, unfortunately. If I could just snap my fingers, I would make people not want the skin in the first place. That is not reality of our world, unfortunately. That's not gonna happen. So unfortunately, the necessary evil of farming does save wild populations.
This next question is worded funny, but I'm reading it the way it was written. Are they your friends now, or you still be cautious with them?
Yeah, so this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, but again, they are not my friends, they're not my buddies. I love him, he does not love me, they are not my friends. Do they have friends with each other is another connected question to this. I do see them where they seem like they tolerate certain individuals better than others. It's just two of them in here, male and female, so they're great together. But when you have multiple males, I have seen some males tolerate other males more. I wouldn't say they're friends, but they do tolerate each other more. Put it this way, I wouldn't say they're friends, but I would definitely say they have ones they don't like. You know, where they're like, sometimes you'll see one just pick on another specific individual a lot. So they maybe have friendships that way, if you want to say it that way. But definitely, I would not tell people that we are friends, because then people think that they're not going to hurt me, and of course they will.
Last question, and this transitions perfectly. Are the boys ever mean to their girlfriends?
Oh, yeah. So, usually not. Sometimes they are. You guys saw Stallone. So we have tried 2 different females in there with Stallone. We tried Cheesecake and we tried Ballerina, and he kicked both of them out. So Stallone is a very unusual male alligator in that he does not seem to want to have a girlfriend and just bites them and kicks them out of his pond and won't let them back in the water. I've actually never seen a wild caught male alligator act like that before. Now, captive raised alligators that are raised from a baby in captivity in isolation, they don't learn the social skills they need. I've seen that happen, but I've actually never seen it with a wild one that should have those social skills and have learned them as a young individual. Now, you guys see the videos with Bella and Big Mac. They get along really well, but when I am feeding, Big Mac will kick out Bella for the food. So he doesn't hurt her, she doesn't even bleed, but he will put his teeth on her, and he will like press on her. Again, she doesn't even bleed from it, but he will put his teeth and put some pressure and be like, hey, get away, I'm getting this food, you know? So like, I don't know if you want to say that's him being mean to her, but he's all about him when it comes to the food. Otherwise, they get along really, really well. And normally, male and female alligators get along. I mean, look at Dino, dude. Dino is massive. You know, he's 11 we got to measure him again. He was 11.4 last year. We got to measure him again. He's maybe bigger now.
Yeah.
So he's big now. His females he has in there are tiny. They are like 6 feet. And so he could easily kill one of them and rip them right in half. He's so nice to those 2 girls. He doesn't do, and they all bask together, and he's sitting there with a girlfriend literally half his size. And they get along really, really well. It doesn't bother him at all. Meanwhile, Stallone put a girl in there, he beats her up and sends her packing, you know? So it is unusual, but yeah, sometimes they are like that. And that's our last question, guys. So thank you so much, everybody who sent them in. Again, I do these off my Instagram. If you have any other questions, you can leave them in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought. And like, share, comment, blah, 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 subscribe. See y'all later.